Amos Yadlin is former Israeli Air Force general and former head of Israeli military intelligence. Sir, it's great to have you here. My first question has to do with what Iran had first hit you with, a barrage of missiles. Reports are that that has greatly slowed down. Tell us exactly what you're facing from Iran.
We're facing a group of missiles coming every couple of hours. It started with 100 in April 2024, went up to 200 in October 1st, 24. And again, on this war, it started from 100, but now it's went down to 50, to 40. And since last night, it's only a couple of them. So the question is whether Iran capabilities were degraded because the Israeli Air Force achieved air superiority and they are hunting the launchers all the time, or Iran is trying to adapt another strategy of attrition and making life in Israel more problematic when people have to go to the shelter every couple of hours.
Look, General, I want to hit more military logistics with you, and we'll move forward. Fordow, what can you tell me about what's there? And do you, with your military now in Israel, the IDF, have the capability to take that out?
Fordow is the policy insurance of the of Iran nuclear program. They used to have a huge enrichment site called Nataz with 15,000 centrifuges. Many of them are advanced, but Nataz, the Israeli Air Force can destroy. Fordow is in the middle of a mountain, in a place that is very difficult to destroy, and they move there a couple of centrifuges, not more than hundreds, that in case that Nataz will be attacked, they will have this place as a safe place. Can Israel attack it from the air? The bunker busters of Israel, which is 2,000 pounds, is not enough for this well-protected under mountain site. However, never underestimate the Israeli innovation. There are other capabilities that Israel used in the past, and maybe we'll find a new way, as we did with the pagers or as we did with other surprising techniques.
Can the United States help you with a more powerful bunker-busting bomb? And is that in the works that you know of?
No doubt, the United States has 30,000 pounds. It's a huge bomb that is carried only on big bombers, from B-52 to B-2. And the Israel does not possess such a bomber. So I think if we want to continue the elimination of the Iranian dangerous nuclear program, the US should consider to make the final step.
General, it is great to get this information from you. I'll do one more question with you, and that is the talk about peace and the latest talk around that, what it could look like in terms of negotiating with Iran, so on and so forth. If that were even possible at this point, it could be. But the question is, Netanyahu, Prime Minister, has said no to peace right now. When do you think that could change?
I think you mean a ceasefire.
A
peace
ceasefire.
Is much more.
Yes, you're right. That's not necessarily peace.
I think if we are standing with, if we can achieve three conditions, we can cease the fire. First, that Iran will go back to the negotiation, saying that the base of the negotiation is the golden standard of nuclear energy, because the Iranian alleged program goal is to enrich uranium for civilian use. Civilian use, according to the US Atomic Agency, Section 123, You are not allowed to enrich on your own soil. You get the uranium from the outside. This is exactly what is done on the other side of the Gulf in the UAE. So should be the base for a future negotiation. And then understanding between the US and Israel that if Iran cheats, if Iran is not going to the golden standard, then Israel and the US will resume the attack to make sure that Iran is not breaking to the bomb with maybe what left somewhere in Iran as a high enriched uranium and a weapon group.
And number 3, just real quickly.
Number 3 is to take this advantage and to end all the wars in the Middle East.
Okay.
We need to end the Gaza war as well, to bring back all the hostages.
Yes.
They are on my heart. We need to bring back all the hostages and have the same principles there. Hamas will not rule Gaza. Hamas will dismantle. And if not, we use the same model that Israel and America decided about northern border, about Hezbollah, that if Hamas is not putting down their weapon, Israel will go back to the war and the US will support it.
General Yadlin, so much good information there. And there's no need to read between the lines. You're very clear on what needs to happen. We'll cover every inch of it. And now with your expertise and help, thank you very much.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.